Once upon a time, in the mountains on the outskirts of Kyoto, there was a mother and her children rushing through a fierce snowstorm. There were 2 young children and a baby in the mother's arms. At the time, the 2 great powers of samurai, the Genji and the Taira, were fighting fiercely in various regions, and the general of the Genji, Minamoto no Yoshitomo, was finally defeated by the Taira, Imawaka, Otawaka, and Yushiwaka, out of the reach of the Taira. Yoshitomo's wife, Takiwa, tried to escape with her 3 young children. However, they were eventually found by Taira warriors, and brought before Taira no Kiyomori. When Kiyomori found out that the young child was the son of the Genji general Yoshitomo, he ordered that he be beheaded immediately. "But please spare the lives of these children," moved Kiyomori, and decided to spare the children's lives. However, to Kiwa's earnest plea, "I don't want my life." In return, he made Takiwa promise that Imawaka, who was 7 years old, and Otawaka, who was 5, would immediately enter the temple, and that Yushiwaka, too, would enter the temple when he turned 7. The years passed in the blink of an eye, and soon the time came when he had to fulfill his promise to Kiyomori. "Yushiwaka, you are already 7 years old. You must enter the temple and become a fine monk." And so, Yushiwaka, who had just turned 7, had to say goodbye to his kind mother. "When you feel lonely, play this flute that your father treasured." The temple where Yushiwakamaru was entrusted is Kurama Temple, located in the Kurama Mountains, amidst a dense grove of trees. And there he began his rigorous life of training. One day, while Yushiwakamaru was studying alone, he heard a voice calling him from somewhere. "Waka-sama, Waka-sama. Who is calling me?" Yushiwakamaru looked around restlessly and saw a strange priest sitting there. "Waka-sama, it's a pleasure to meet you. I am a traveling monk named Kamata Masachika. Waka-sama, please listen carefully. You are the son of Minamoto no Yoshitomo, the general of the Minamoto clan, who was annihilated by the Taira clan." "What? Me?" "Yes, I also served Yoshitomo, who was killed by Kiyomori. You must defeat your father's enemy and punish the arrogant Taira clan. And you must rebuild the Genji clan." It was all a story he had never heard before. And after hearing it, Yushiwakamaru ran into the mountains and cried alone. It was too heavy a fate for the young Yushiwakamaru to accept. Unable to bear the sight of Yushiwakamaru in such a state, Tengu, who lived in the mountains, taught Yushiwakamaru the sword. After many days of training, Yushiwakamaru suddenly stopped Tengu's sharp sword attack and struck Tengu with the returning sword. "I did it! I did it! I've finally defeated Tengu." Yushiwakamaru's sword skills had finally reached the point where he was able to defeat Tengu. Since that day, there was no Tengu who could match Yushiwakamaru. Then one day, Tengu said to Yushiwakamaru, "My lord, there is nothing more we can teach you. From now on, I hope you will become a fine samurai." These Tengu were probably vassals of Yoshitomo who cared about the Genji. Yushiwakamaru, who had trained in swordsmanship on Mount Kurama, quietly disappeared from Kurama Temple at the age of 15. Now, in Kyoto at that time, it was rumored that every night, a mysterious monk named Benkei would appear, steal the swords of passers-by, and pray to collect 1,000 of them, and he was feared. Tonight was the 1000th night, and here was Gojo Bridge. Hearing the sound of a dead flute coming from nowhere, Benkei looked around and saw that it was none other than Yoshiwakamaru playing the flute. "Oh, what a child! I have no use for children," Benkei replied. But as soon as he saw the sword in Yoshiwakamaru's hand, he said, "Yes, what a splendid sword! This sword is worthy of being the 1000th." And he raised his naginata high and stood before Yoshiwakamaru. "Hey, hey, leave that sword behind." But Yoshiwakamaru slips right past Benkei. "Huh, all right, take my naginata, come on." Benkei swings his naginata around, but Yoshiwakamaru dodges it with ease. "Here, there, Yoshiwakamaru leaps into the air and throws the fan he is holding. The fan hits Benkei on the forehead, knocking him over. "I've given up." Even Benkei falls to his knees in despair and apologizes. And from that moment on, Benkei becomes Yoshiwakamaru's retainer and serves him forever. Yoshiwakamaru, later known as Genkoro Yoshitsune, joined forces with his brother, Yoritomo, and eventually defeated the Taira clan in the Battle of Danora.